The great hall of the Galactic Confederation shined with the light of 1,000 stars. Banners of 100 worlds hung from the high ceiling. Today was a day of celebration. The war with the humans was over. Admiral Reed stood tall as the Supreme Leader placed the Medal of Victory around his neck. His white uniform gleamed under the bright lights. The crowd of aliens clapped their many hands, tentacles, and claws. "For your brave leadership in the battle against Earth, we honored you," said the Supreme Leader. His voice boomed through the hall. "The human threat is no more." Reed nodded and smiled, but his eyes stayed cold. The victory had been too easy. The humans had fought hard, then suddenly gave up. Something felt wrong. In the corner of the hall stood James, the human diplomat. He wore a simple gray suit and clapped slowly with the others. His face showed no emotion as he watched Reed get his medal. "The peace treaty will be signed today," said the Supreme Leader. "Earth has agreed to all our terms." James walked to the stage. He took the golden pen and signed his name on the treaty. His hand did not shake. He did not look sad or angry. He simply nodded and said, "Earth accepts these terms. The war is over." The aliens cheered. Drinks were poured. Music played. But across the room, Intelligence Officer Marcus watched with worried eyes. He had studied humans for years. They never gave up so easily. Later that night, Marcus sat in his small office. Screens covered the walls, showing reports and star maps. He pulled up the files on Earth's fleet. "Computer, show me the registered human military ships before and after surrender," he said. The computer displayed 2 lists. Marcus frowned. "This doesn't make sense. They had 200 battle cruisers, but only turned over 120. Where are the other 80? He dug deeper. Strange energy readings had been detected near Jupiter in Earth's home system. Something big was happening there, hidden from the Confederation's eyes. Marcus rushed to Admiral Reed's quarters, knocking hard on the door. "What is it?" Reed asked, annoyed at being disturbed during the victory party. "Sir, the humans are hiding something. Their fleet numbers don't match, and there's unusual activity in their home system." Reed laughed. "You worry too much, Marcus. They're broken. Their economy is ruined. Their military is crushed. What could they possibly do now?" "Sir, I think. Enough. Go enjoy the party. That's an order." Marcus walked away, his hands tight at his sides. No one would listen. They were all too happy to believe the war was over. 3 days later, at the edge of Confederation space, a patrol ship noticed something strange. A shadow where no shadow should be. The young officer on duty adjusted the sensors. "Control, I'm picking up something big. Very big. But it's not showing up clearly on sensors." Control responded with a bored voice. "Probably just a sensor glitch. Run diagnostics." "But sir, it's..." The officer's voice stopped as his screen lit up with warnings. "Sir, multiple massive objects dropping out of hyperspace. They're everywhere." Across Confederation space, at exactly the same moment, giant ships appeared near every major world. Dark, angular vessels the size of small moons. Earth ships, but unlike any the Confederation had seen before. On the capital world, the celebration was still going. Admiral Reed raised a glass to toast the Supreme Leader when the sky outside turned dark. Looking through the crystal dome of the Great Hall, everyone could see it. An enormous ship, blocking the stars. A voice echoed through every communication device in the hall. "This is Captain Wilson of the Earth Dreadnought Vengeance. Your victory celebration is premature. The real war has just begun." The human diplomat James stood quietly in the corner, a small smile finally appearing on his face. The room was dark. Only the blue light of Earth shone on the tired faces of the 12 men and women around the table. General Wilson stood at the head, her gray hair cut short, her eyes hard from years of war. "Today we lost the battle for Mars," she said. Her voice was steady but low. "The Confederation thinks they have won the war. Haven't they?" asked Colonel Barnes. His arm was in a sling, his face burned on one side. "We've lost half our fleet. They're at our doorstep." Wilson pressed a button. A hologram appeared over the table, a massive ship design unlike anything they had built before. "This is Project Black Fleet," she said. "While we fought and lost battles across the solar system, our best engineers were building these." The others stared at the design. It was enormous. "A ship the size of a small city. A dreadnought," whispered Admiral Taylor. "But we don't have the resources to build something this big." Wilson smiled for the first time. "Not above ground. No. But below? Under the clouds of Jupiter, where their sensors can't reach. We've been building there for 3 years." The room was silent. The war with the Confederation had seemed hopeless. Earth was outmatched, outgunned. Or so everyone thought. "How many?" asked Barnes. 7, said Wilson. "One almost complete. 6 more at different stages." "7 ships won't win a war against thousands," said Taylor. Wilson touched the hologram. It zoomed in on one section of the ship. "This is our new shield technology. It can absorb energy weapons and use them to power our own. And this," she pointed to another section, "is our new stealth system. They won't see us until we want them to." The mood in the room changed. Hope replaced despair. "What about crews?" asked Colonel Lee. "We'd need thousands for ships that size." "We'll use minimal crews," said Wilson. "Most systems will be automated. We've selected the best 500 crew members for each ship. They're already training in virtual reality. They think it's just a simulation." The next day, Earth sent out a message to the Confederation. They were ready to surrender, to sign a peace treaty. The Confederation celebrated. The humans had finally been put in their place. But deep beneath Jupiter's clouds, the work continued. Day and night, the shipyards hummed with activity. The first dreadnought, Vengeance, was completed within a year. The others followed: Justice, Retribution, Defender, Liberty, Freedom, and Unity. The crews trained in secret. They lived in underground bases, cut off from their families who thought they were stationed on distant outposts. Every day they ran drills, learned the new systems, and prepared for the day they would strike back. On Earth, people rebuilt their cities. They followed the strict rules of the Confederation. They seemed broken, accepting their defeat. Confederation observers reported that humans had lost their fighting spirit. But in hidden bunkers around the world, military leaders planned their return to the stars. They studied Confederation weaknesses, mapped their supply routes, identified their key worlds. 4 years passed this way. Earth seemed peaceful, defeated. The Confederation grew comfortable, reduced their patrols, pulled back some of their forces. And still, under Jupiter's swirling clouds, the dreadnoughts waited. Their massive weapons were tested in the gas giant storms, where the energy discharges couldn't be detected. Their engines were tuned to perfection. Their crews became one with their ships. Finally, on the 5th anniversary of Earth's surrender, General Wilson stood on the bridge of the Vengeance. 6 other dreadnoughts floated nearby, each one a monument to human determination. "Send the signal," she ordered. Across the solar system, hidden transmitters activated. The 7 dreadnoughts powered up their engines. The time had come. "All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump," said Wilson. She looked out at the stars, at the places where Confederation worlds waited, unsuspecting. "Today we show them what humanity is truly capable of." The mining world of Helios shone like a jewel in the darkness of space. Its surface was scarred from centuries of mining. But from orbit, those scars looked like beautiful patterns. Confederation ships moved around the planet, carrying precious metals to build more ships and weapons. Commander Alex stood on the bridge of the defense station. It was a quiet post. Nothing exciting ever happened here, far from the borders of Confederation space. Alex yawned and checked the time. 2 more hours until the end of his shift. The sensor officer suddenly sat up straight. "Sir, I'm getting strange readings at the edge of the system." "What kind of readings?" asked Alex, not very concerned. "I don't know. It's like a shadow. Something big, but the sensors can't lock onto it." Alex frowned and walked over to the screen. "Run a diagnostic. Probably just a—" He never finished his sentence. The shadow on the screen suddenly took shape. A massive ship, bigger than any he had ever seen, appeared as if from nowhere. "Sound the alarm," shouted Alex. "Get me Confederation command." But before the alarm could even begin to sound, more ships appeared. Smaller ones, fighters, moving with incredible speed toward the planet's defense stations. On the bridge of the Earth Dreadnought Vengeance, Captain Thomas watched calmly as his ship's stealth systems powered down. Now they could see him. Now they would understand what they were facing. "Target their defense stations only," he ordered. "Avoid civilian areas. I want their mining operations intact." The weapons officer nodded. "Yes, sir. Targeting defenses only." The Vengeance's main cannon charged with a low hum that vibrated through the entire ship. On the tactical display, Thomas could see his fighters moving into position, drawing the attention of Confederation defense ships. "Fire," he said quietly. A beam of energy, bright as a small sun, shot from the Vengeance. It hit the main defense station with perfect accuracy. The station didn't explode. It simply came apart, breaking into thousands of pieces that drifted away into space. On the planet below, miners looked up to see flashes of light in the sky. The strange dance of Earth fighters and Confederation ships played out above them like a deadly light show. Commander Alex had made it to an escape pod. As it shot away from the station, he saw the true size of the Earth vessel. It was like a moving moon, dark and threatening. His pod's communication system was still working. "This is Commander Alex of Helios Defense Station. We are under attack by Earth forces. They have ships, enormous ships." At Confederation headquarters, Admiral Reed received the message with disbelief. "Earth? Attacking? With what fleet?" Intelligence Officer Marcus rushed into the room. "Sir, we're getting reports of attacks at 12 different locations across Confederation space, all following the same pattern. Large vessels appearing out of nowhere, targeting military installations only." Reed's face went pale. "How? Where did they get these ships?" "I tried to warn you," said Marcus. "The numbers didn't add up. They were building something in secret all these years." On the main screen, reports kept coming in. Confederation defenses were falling everywhere. The Earth ships were too powerful, too advanced. They moved with precision, avoiding civilian targets, destroying only military bases and ships. Back on the Vengeance, Captain Thomas received the reports from the other dreadnoughts. All were performing perfectly. The Confederation was in chaos, unable to mount a coordinated defense. "Message from General Wilson," said the communications officer. "All ships report success. Moving to Phase 2. Thomas nodded. Phase 1 had been about showing force. Phase 2 would be about showing mercy. "Open a channel to any remaining Confederation forces in this system," he ordered. When the channel was open, Thomas spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Captain Thomas of the Earth Dreadnought Vengeance. Your military capabilities in this system have been neutralized. We have no desire to harm civilians. Surrender your remaining forces, and no one else will be hurt today." Across Confederation space, 6 other dreadnought captains were saying the same words. It was not a request. It was not a negotiation. It was humanity, showing the stars what it was truly capable of. The emergency chamber of the Confederation Council had never been so full. Leaders from 100 worlds sat in rising circles around the central stage. Their voices filled the room with angry shouts and fearful whispers. Admiral Reed stood in the center, facing their anger. His once perfect uniform was wrinkled. He had not slept in 2 days. "How could this happen?" demanded the Supreme Leader. His large eyes blinked rapidly in distress. "You assured us the humans were defeated." "The reports I received," Reed began, "were wrong. shouted a delegate from a world that had already fallen to Earth forces. My people are now under human control because of your mistakes. The doors to the chamber opened. Intelligence Officer Marcus walked in, followed by guards. He looked tired but determined. The Council will hear from Intelligence Officer Marcus, announced the Supreme Leader. Marcus stepped onto the central stage. He activated a hologram that showed the solar system of Earth. For 5 years, we thought the humans were rebuilding their broken world, he said. But they were actually building these. The hologram changed to show detailed scans of the Earth Dreadnoughts. Gasps filled the room. 7 ships, Marcus continued, but each one has the firepower of 100 of our best cruisers. They built them in secret, under the clouds of Jupiter, where our sensors couldn't detect them. Why didn't you know about this? Someone shouted. I tried to warn Admiral Reed, said Marcus. The numbers didn't add up, but no one wanted to listen. All eyes turned to Reed, who looked away in shame. The doors opened again. The human diplomat James walked in. The crowd grew silent. Just days ago, he had been a defeated enemy. Now he walked with confidence, even pride. The Council will hear the human representative, said the Supreme Leader, his voice tight with anger. James took the center stage. His simple gray suit was the same as before, but now he stood taller, looked stronger. 5 years ago, he began, you forced Earth to sign a treaty that would have eventually destroyed us. You took our resources, limited our growth, and treated us like children. We had no choice but to accept, at the time. The hologram changed again, showing the current positions of Earth's dreadnoughts throughout Confederation space. As you can see, James continued, we now control 12 of your key worlds. We have destroyed only military targets. No civilians have been harmed. What do you want? Asked the Supreme Leader. A new treaty, said James. One that treats Earth as an equal, not a defeated enemy. One that allows us to grow and trade fairly. Angry voices rose again. The Supreme Leader raised his hands for silence. And if we refuse? James smiled slightly. Look outside. The great dome of the council chamber was transparent, showing the sky above. And there, blocking the stars, was the massive shape of an Earth dreadnought. The Retribution, said James. Captain Walker sends his regards. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Walker watched the council building through the view screen. His orders were clear. Show force, but harm no one unless attacked. They're scanning us, said his tactical officer. Let them, replied Walker. Let them see what they're dealing with. Back in the council chamber, the Supreme Leader was looking at the scan results with horror. The weapons on this single ship could reduce the entire capital to ash in minutes. We need time to discuss your terms, he told James. You have 24 hours, replied James. We've waited 5 years. We won't wait longer. As James left the chamber, Admiral Reed approached him. You could have destroyed us already, said Reed quietly. Why haven't you? James looked at him with steady eyes. Humans aren't what you think we are, Admiral. We never wanted war. We just wanted respect. He walked away, leaving Reed staring at the massive ship hovering in the sky. The Admiral finally understood the truth. They had never truly known their enemy at all. Commander Leo stood on the bridge of the Confederation's newest ship, the Starbreaker. It was the most advanced vessel they had ever built, finished just before the humans returned. Its weapons were untested in real battle. Today would change that. All ships report ready, Commander said, his second-in-command. Leo nodded. Around the Starbreaker, 50 of the Confederation's best ships formed an attack formation. Their mission was simple but dangerous. Destroy one of the Earth dreadnoughts to show they were not invincible. The Earth ship Justice is still in position near the Orion colony, reported the sensor officer. They appear to be unaware of our approach. Leo took a deep breath. The Council was still negotiating with the humans, but many leaders wanted to show strength before accepting any treaty. This attack was not officially approved, but many high-ranking officers supported it. "Activate stealth systems," ordered Leo. The Starbreaker had new stealth technology, not as good as the Earth ships, but still effective. "All ships, prepare to jump to attack position on my mark." The fleet disappeared into hyperspace, reappearing moments later surrounding the Earth Dreadnought Justice. The massive ship hung in space, seemingly peaceful against the backdrop of stars. "All ships, open fire," shouted Leo. Beams of energy shot toward the Justice from all directions. The first volley hit before the Earth ship could raise its shields. Parts of its outer hull exploded into space. "Direct hit," someone cheered. On the Justice, Captain Morgan grabbed his chair as the ship shook violently. Warning signals blared across the bridge. "Damage report," he demanded. "Hull breach on decks 12 through 15, reported his officer. "Shields now at full power. Weapons online." Morgan looked at the tactical display. 50 Confederation ships surrounded them, all firing continuously. The Justice's shields glowed as they absorbed the energy. "Return fire," Morgan ordered calmly. "Target their main ship only." The Justice's main cannon powered up, drawing energy from the shields that were being hit. This was the secret of the Dreadnoughts. The more they were attacked, the more powerful their own weapons became. The cannon fired. A beam of pure energy cut through space and hit the Starbreaker dead center. The Confederation ship's shields held, but barely. "They're stronger than we thought," Leo said, watching his shield levels drop rapidly. "All ships, concentrate fire on their weapon systems." The battle grew intense. The Justice spun slowly, firing at ship after ship, disabling them without destroying them. The Confederation fleet kept attacking, hoping to find a weakness. Then something strange happened. The damaged sections of the Justice began to repair themselves. Metal flowed like water, closing holes, rebuilding weapons. "They have some kind of self-repair system," Leo said in disbelief. "How is that possible?" On the Justice, Morgan watched as his ship healed itself. The nanobots that lived in the hull were doing their job, using material from inside the ship to repair the damage. "Sir, their attacks are becoming less effective," reported his tactical officer. "Our shields are adapting to their weapons." Morgan nodded. "Target their engines. Disable, don't destroy." The Justice fired again, this time hitting the Starbreaker's engine section. The Confederation ship drifted, power fluctuating. "We've lost main power," shouted Leo's engineer. Switching to backup systems. Leo knew the battle was lost. His surprise attack had failed. The Earth ship was too powerful. "All ships, retreat," he ordered. "Jump to emergency coordinates." As the Confederation ships disappeared into hyperspace, Leo's communication officer turned to him. "Sir, we're receiving a message from the Earth ship." "Put it through," said Leo, expecting threats or demands. Captain Morgan's face appeared on the screen. He looked serious, but not angry. "Commander Leo, I presume. Next time you want to test our capabilities, just ask for a demonstration. There's no need for anyone to die today." The screen went blank. Leo stared at it for a long moment. The humans could have destroyed his entire fleet. Instead, they had only disabled his ships. Perhaps, he thought, there was more to these humans than the Confederation had ever understood. Captain Thomas stood in the ancient ruins, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The stone walls were covered with strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly when the light touched them. Behind him, Commander Leo moved cautiously, his own light scanning the ceiling. Just 2 days ago, they had been enemies. Now they worked together, exploring these mysterious ruins on a planet at the edge of known space. "How did you find this place?" asked Leo, still not entirely trusting the human captain. "We didn't," replied Thomas. "We intercepted a transmission that mentioned it. A transmission that didn't come from any Confederation world." The two officers moved deeper into the ruins. Their teams followed at a distance, a mix of human and Confederation soldiers, all watching each other with suspicious eyes. The path led to a large circular room. In the center stood a pillar of black stone that reached to the ceiling. It hummed with energy that made the air feel heavy. "What is this place?" whispered Leo. Thomas pointed his scanner at the pillar. "According to these readings, it's over 50,000 years old. Far older than either of our civilizations." A scientist from Thomas's team stepped forward. She ran her hand just above the surface of the pillar, not quite touching it. "Captain, these markings match others we found on planets where conflicts between humans and the Confederation began." "The same is true for us," said a Confederation scientist. "This writing was found in the ruins where our first patrol ships were attacked, supposedly by humans." Thomas and Leo exchanged glances. The same thought was forming in their minds. "You're saying someone wanted us to fight each other?" asked Leo. "Or something," said Thomas. He pointed to a section of wall where a mural showed two different species fighting while a third watched from above. "I think we've been manipulated." Suddenly, the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The pillar's humming grew louder. "We're getting energy spikes," said the human scientist. "Something's activating." "All personnel, evacuate immediately," ordered Thomas. He grabbed his communicator. "Defender, this is Captain Thomas. We need emergency extraction. The site has become unstable." As they turned to leave, a hologram appeared above the pillar, a creature unlike any they had seen before, tall, skeletal, with too many limbs and eyes that glowed with cold intelligence. The creature spoke, its voice translating somehow into both human and Confederation languages simultaneously. "You were not supposed to unite. You were supposed to destroy each other." Leo raised his weapon, but Thomas stopped him. "Who are you?" demanded Thomas. "We are the Watchers. We observe. We test. We eliminate threats before they grow too powerful." The hologram changed, showing scenes of Earth and Confederation worlds in flames. "Your species showed promise, intelligence, technology, the ability to spread among the stars. You needed to be tested, to fight each other. The weak would fall. The strong would be weakened enough for us to cleanse when we return." "Return? From where?" asked Leo. "We sleep between the stars. We wake when new species reach beyond their worlds. We have done this for millions of years." The ground shook more violently. The pillar's glow intensified. "This beacon calls to our fleet. They come now. You discovered our plan too soon, but it changes nothing. You will still be cleansed." The hologram vanished. The pillar began to crack, energy pouring out. "Run!" shouted Thomas. They raced back through the tunnels as the ruins collapsed behind them. They reached the surface just as their ships landed to extract them. On the horizon, cities were burning. Strange ships, angular and black like living shadows, descended from the sky. "The Watchers," whispered Leo. "They're already here." Above the planet, the Earth Dreadnought Defender moved into position. Captain Miller watched in horror as the alien ships appeared by the dozens. "Open a channel to all Earth and Confederation forces," she ordered. "Priority 1 message. We are under attack by an unknown species. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." As the Defender's weapons powered up, Miller sent another message, this one directly to the Confederation capital. "We were wrong about each other," the message said. "We have a common enemy now. If we don't stand together, we all fall." In space, the Dreadnought Defender placed itself between the alien fleet and the civilian evacuation ships below, shields glowing as it prepared for battle. 1 month had passed since the Watchers revealed themselves. 1 month of desperate battles across dozens of worlds. The 7 Earth Dreadnoughts now formed a protective line around key Confederation planets, their massive hulls bearing scars from countless fights. Admiral Wilson stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching as Confederation ships moved into formation alongside her fleet. It was still strange to see them as allies rather than enemies. "Status report," she commanded. "The Watchers have been pushed back from the Orient sector," reported her officer. The Justice and 3 Confederation battle groups have secured the area. Wilson nodded. The Watchers were powerful, but they had not expected united resistance. Their strategy had always been to let species weaken each other first. On the main screen, Admiral Reed's face appeared. The Confederation leader looked tired but determined. "The evacuation of the border worlds is complete," he said. "Civilians are safe in the protected zones." "Good," replied Wilson. "My engineers have finished the shield upgrades for your capital ships. They should be more effective against Watcher weapons now." Reed nodded. There was a moment of awkward silence. These two had been bitter enemies not long ago. Now they depended on each other for survival. "The Unity project is ready," Reed said finally, "if you'd like to see it." The screen changed to show a massive shipyard. There, under construction, was a new type of ship. Larger than even the Earth Dreadnoughts, it combined technologies from both civilizations. "The first joint Earth Confederation vessel," said Reed, "built to fight the Watchers." "Unity," said Wilson, reading the name on the hull. "A good choice." In another part of space, Captain Morgan of the Dreadnought Defender led a different kind of mission. His ship was docked at a space station orbiting a world that had once refused all contact with humans. Now they welcomed him as he walked through the corridors with a delegation of Earth diplomats. "Your weapons technology saved 3 of our colonies," said the alien leader, a tall being with blue skin. "We would be honored to join your alliance." Morgan nodded. "Together, we're stronger. The Watchers count on division. We give them unity instead." Back at Earth, the supreme leader of the Confederation stood in the old United Nations building. It had been restored after the earlier war. Now it served as the meeting place for the new Galactic Alliance. Representatives from 100 worlds watched as Admiral Wilson and Admiral Reed signed a new treaty. Not a surrender document like before, but a true alliance agreement. Humans stood as equals now. "Today marks a new chapter in our shared history," said the Supreme Leader. "Once we fought each other. Now we fight together." Wilson stepped forward to address the gathering. "Earth's industrial capacity is now your asset, not your threat. Our factories build ships for all our worlds. Our dreadnoughts protect all our people." In space, Earth and Confederation crews trained together aboard the newly completed ships. Human engineers taught their alien counterparts about the self-repairing hull technology. Confederation scientists shared their knowledge of faster-than-light travel. On the Unity, still under construction but already partially operational, Captain Thomas and Commander Leo stood side by side on the bridge. Half the crew were human, half from various Confederation worlds. "The Watchers have ruled the stars for millions of years," said Leo. "They never expected us to work together." Thomas smiled. "That will be their downfall. They understand conflict, not cooperation." A young officer approached them, holding a datapad. "Sirs, we've detected a Watcher fleet regrouping near the outer colonies." Thomas and Leo exchanged looks. They had come a long way from being enemies. "Prepare the ship for departure," ordered Thomas. "Alert Earth and Confederation Command," added Leo. As the Unity's engines powered up for the first time, its massive shape moved away from the shipyard. It joined a formation of ships from dozens of worlds, all flying side by side. The war was far from over. The Watchers were ancient and powerful, but they faced something they had never encountered before. Different species standing together, humans and aliens united by a common purpose. And leading the way were the Earth Dreadnoughts, symbols no longer of humanity's vengeance, but of hope for all.